Hello, good evening.
Hi, Abe.
That's your grandson there again?
That's Kobe.
That's Kobe.
Kobe. Yaakov. Okay, we're going to start with Avodah Zarah. Hey, hey, Omid Aleph. So we were told by the Gemara that both David HaMelech and Klal Yisrael that worship the Egel are examples who of people who did tshuva. Lo omer lecha, shimchot yachid omer lo klach etzel yachid. If you're an individual person who needs to do tshuva, your example is David HaMelech as a yachid. V'imchatu tzibor, if it's tzibor needs tshuva, omer lo klach etzel tzibor, which is Klal Yisrael after the chet egel. Utzricha, we need both examples. Diashmin and yachid. If I would have only been given the example of David HaMelech, mishum delo mefarsim chatoy, a private individual, nobody knows about his sin. So maybe then you can do tshuva. Val tzibur de mefarsim chatoy malo. Maybe tshuva won't help. Mario, we're in Hayam and Aleph.
Thanks.
Yashmin and Tzibor, if we would have only took the case of the Tzibor, mishum de nefishi rachmaya. A lot of people are davening to have kapara. Val yochi de lo alimas chusei. He doesn't have a lot of schuyas. Aim alone. So we have to be shown the case of David HaMelech that even a yochid can have the ability to have kapara, to be a balshuva tzricha. V'hani Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachman Rav Yochanan Maidich Siv Neum David ben Yishai uNeum HaGever Hukam Ol Neum David ben Yishai Shehekim Ula Shel Tshuva. He raised the banner of Tshuva. V'amar Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachman Rav Yochanan Kol Oisa Mitzvah Chas Polam Hazeh Mekadmosa V'Olechas L'Fanav L'Olam Haba. A person does a mitzvah in this world, it sort of precedes him in the next world. Shenemar V'Halach L'Fanecha Tzidkecha U'Chvod Hashem Yasfecha. If you do an Aveira, it also follows you to the final judgment. Just like you tie a tin can to the tail of a dog, so too the Aveira is tied to you. That's Yosef and Ashes Potiphar, that if he would have violated the Aveira, it would have been an Aveir B'olam Hazeh, and Lios Ima B'olam Haba also would have followed him to Olam Haba. Amr Reish Lakish. By the way, there are missiles going off in Israel now, even though there's supposed to be a ceasefire.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's the last hurrah. Yeah. There's missiles in the north under heavy missile attack, dozens of ballistic missiles. Okay. Amr Reish Lakish, Bo v'nachzik tov l'avoseinu. We owe a debt of gratitude to our forefathers. If they hadn't committed the Chet Egel, Anu Lo Banu, we would have never been born. Why? Because prior to the Chet Egel, they would have lived forever and they would not be moilid. Shenamar Ani Amarti Elohim Atem Uvnei Elyon Kulchem. You're like Bnei Elyon, you're like Malachim that are not going to die. Chibata Masechem. You did the Egel Azov. Achen Ka'adam Temusa. Now you go back to natural life with death and birth. What? If we wouldn't have done the Chet Egel, we wouldn't have given birth. Vaksi vatem pruervu. Initially, they were given a tzivoy of pruervu. And for the Gemara, Ad Sinai, okay, until Har Sinai, then there would be no approval. But the Gemara says, "B'Sinai nami ksiv lechem or lahem shuv lachem lo lechem." Go back to your wives and have children. No, l'simchas ona, just for the pleasure of the relation, but no children. I've aksiv l'man yitav lem livneihem. They were given a bracha that their sons are going to have yitav. And for the Gemara, lo yisna oidim al Har Sinai. Well, they had sons there at Har Sinai. We're talking about them. I've Ramesh Lakish Maidich Siv Zeh Sefer Todos Odam. That this is the book of the progeny of Adam. Sefer Hayel Adam Rishon. Did he have some type of sefer? Malamin Sheher Lo Kodesh Baruch Hu Adam Rishon Dor V'Dor Shav. Kodesh Baruch Hu Shodam Rishon all the doires. Dor V'Chachmav, its leaders, its Chachamim. Dor V'Dor Parnosav. Kivin Shegila Dor Shel Rabbi Akiva. Samach b'soirasov and his atzev v'misaso. He was happy with his Torah, but sad in his death. Omar v'lim ma yokru recha el. So obviously there were children being born up until the time of Rabbi Akiva. How can you say that after the Chet Egel there would have been children? Vam Rabbi Yossi and Ben David ba'at she'ichlu neshama shebaguf. That all the neshamas that were originally created have to come into this world before Mashiach comes. Shenemar, ki lo 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 mari v'lo netzach echtzof, ki ruach milfana yatov v'neshamas ani asisi. So, leitema anu lo banu lo oilam, don't say that they did us a toiv, otherwise we wouldn't be in the world. Ela kamish lo banu lo oilam. It's as if we wouldn't have been coming to the world. So, lememadi lachatu lav maisi. What? You have Avamina that without the Chet Egel, there wouldn't be no death. Vaksiv Parshas Yevamos and Parshas Nachlois. In the Torah, it deals with two brothers, one of them dies. So obviously there's death. And also the Nachlois, who inherits who? So the Gemara answers out tonight that if they commit sins and then they would die, then these dinim would apply. So, umiksivi kroy al tnoi, are psukim written conditionally? Ein achanami, yeah. In the Hachi Rav Shem ben Lakish, Ma'idich Siv, by Yervai Vorka Yom Hashishi, Malamin Shehista Kodesh Baruch Hu Ma'aser Bereishis, he made a tnai with the days of the week. And Hashishi refers to Vav Sivan, when the Klal Yisrael received the Torah. Makabim Yisrael said, Torah, good, mutter. Otherwise, I will return the world to chaos. How could we say that if there wasn't for the Chet Egel, there would be no death? It says, Mi'itain, v'hayala v'vam zelahem, lira oti kol hayamim. And levatal mehem malach hamavis yefshar. To say that there's no malach hamavis, we can't. Shekvar nigzer gzeira at the time of Adam HaRishon. Halo kiblu Yisrael esator elakadesh lotei uma v'loshon sholetes bahen. They were makabel the Torah so that no other nation would have dominion over them. Shenemar l'man yitav lahem l'vnei adolam. So implying, even if they would not sin, there would be death. So who do Amar ki haytan? It's machlokes tanoim. The Tanya Rabbi Yossi Omer lo kiblu Yisrael esator elakadesh lo yem malach hamav sholet bahem. They accepted the Torah because they didn't want to die. However, they committed the Chet Egel, so now they would die. I've Rabbi Yossi Nami Aksiv L'man Yitav Lehem L'vnei Adolam. Toivu Davia. That if their hearts would remain straight, they would have good. But Amisa Ikka. But there would be death. So, Armelacha Rabbi Yossi, Kivan the Lekamisa and Lecha Tovek Dolamizu. There's no Tovek Dola than lack of death. The Tanakama Nami Aksiv Achein Kadam Tumusun. And that it seems to imply that only after the Yecheta Egel that there was death. My Misa Anias. According to Tanakama, when it says Misa, it doesn't mean real death, it means poverty. Domamar. Arba chashuvim kamesim. 4 people are considered like dead people. Eluain, ani, poor people. Suma, blind person, Mitzora, leper, Umishain Labanim, someone without children. Ani Dichsiv, Moshe was told, Lech Shuv Mitzrayim, Ki Mesu Kol Anoshim Avakshim Nafshecha. Dosan Vaviram were malshin to Paro about him and he had to run away. Eventually, Hashem tells him, you can go back because the people who got you into trouble, Dosan Vaviram, died. Maninu Dosan Vaviram. The Gemara asks him, they up until this week's Parsha. Vayikach Korach, Dosan Vaviram, they were around. So what do you mean they were Mesu? Ella Yardu Minichseim. Dosan Vaviram were wealthy and they lost their money. So they're called Mesim. Suma, deceive, V'chashakim or Shivani Kemesi Oilam. Somebody who's, it's finster for the Oigen, it's all Schwarz, they're like Mesi Oilam. Metzora, deceive, when Miriam became a Metzora and Moshe davened for her, he said, Al natihi kamei, she should not be like a dead person. So Metzoras is like death. Umishen lo banim, when Rachel said to Yaakov, Havali bani vim ayin meisa nochi, give me children, otherwise I'll be like a dead person. Torah banim b'chukosai seilechu, ein im eloloshan tachnunim. Hashem asks us to go in His way. L'cheinu oimer, Lu ami shomea li, kimat ovei machnia. Lo oimer lu ikshafte l'mitzvosai, vahi kenaka shlemecha, vahi kechol zaracha v'tetzeh me'echa. Ton rabbanim, mi yitain v'hayala v'vam zelahem, yira oti. Armalei Moshe Yisrael. Kfuyei tova b'nei kfuyei tova. They lacked hakoras hatov, and they're like children of people who lack hakoras hatov. Shosham HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael mi yitain v'hayala v'vam zelahem, hayalem lo martenata. Klai Yisrael should immediately said, give it to us. Kfuyei tova d'chsiv nafshenu katsa b'lechem haklokel. They were sick of the man. They complained about the man. B'nei kfuyu tova d'chsiv. Adam Arishon said, "Ha'isha shenasata imadi he nasolom na'etz v'chel." He blamed his wife who gave him from the Eitz Hadas, and thinking that it was for his bad, but really Hashem gave the wife to him for his good. Af Moshe Rabbeinu l'ramzel Yisrael. Moshe was hinted at this after 40 years. So this is 40 years after Matan Torah. You haven't seen the emes until now. A Talmud doesn't really understand his Rebbe until after 40 years. I'm going to I'm in the middle of teaching a Daf Yomi Shir right now. You didn't realize that I teach a Shir, but I'm in the middle of a Shir now. I'll have to call you back. I'll call you back. I'll be done in about 15 minutes. Okay? Okay, no problem. Ashrechem zori al kol mayim. Happy are the people who plant seeds on water. Mishalchei regel ashor v'chamor. Ashrem Yisrael b'shman sha'oiskim b'torah gemilas chasadim. Happy are the Jews when they study Torah and they do chesed. Yetzra Moshe b'yodam. They have control over the Yetzer Hara. Ve'einei Misrim b'yad Yitzro. Shneimar Ashrechem zori al kol mayim. Ein zri l'tzedakah. Shneimar zor lachem l'tzedakah v'kotzu l'fi chesed. People who are thirsty should go to Mayim, which is a euphemism for Torah. What does it mean? A person should learn Torah like a yoke on an ox's neck and a burden on a chamor's back. It's hard work to learn Torah. So the Mishnah said, 3 days before the holidays of the Goyim, you can't do business with them because they're going to praise their Avodah Zarah. Why are they buying 3 days before? Vatnan, ba'arba prokim b'shana, 4 times a year, amoicha be'em l'chavero tzarech loidio, ima machartia lishchot. 4 times a person, when he sells a cow to somebody who's going to shecht it, you have to say, I also sold the mother. Because Osov Espinolo Sishchatu B'Yamachad, or Bito Macharti Lishchot, I sold the daughter. So he knows not to shecht both in the same day. Eluin, what days? Erev Yom Tov Achron Shel Chag, right before Shmini Atzeres. Erev Yom Tov Arishon Shel Pesach. Erev Pesach. Erev Atzeres. Ve'erev Rosh Hashanah. K'div Rabbi Yosef Glili. Af Erev Yom HaKippurim Begalil. So you only need 1 day to be making for a Chag. Why the Goyim, they need 3? Hasam, because Achila Sagi B'Chad Yoima. This issue that they're going to shecht the mother and the child on the same day, you only need 1 day for preparation of food. Hacha krova be'inan plus yomi. Here the Goyim are looking around to be makriv things to their avodah zarah. They need more time. Why? Because their animals can't have mumim. Are 3 days enough? Atnan. Shoyal in bilchos haPesach kodem haPesach 30 yom. You have to start worrying about these things 30 days before Pesach. Rav Shlomo Gamliel shtei Shabbos is 2 weeks. So you need more than 3 days. So that's not a kasha, says the Gemara. Anon deshchichi mumin de pasli. We Jews, there's a lot of different mumim that pasel korbanos, because afilu dukin sheba'ayin, even a cataract in the eye, but in tlosin yom. We need 3 days. Inu the goyim, the only psul is mechutz rever islay. They cannot offer an animal without a limb. We need 30 days. But they need, it's enough 3 days. How do we know that an animal missing an aver ben Noach cannot be makrivit to Hashem? T'chsiv, umikol achai mikol basar, shnai mikol, tavila teva liyositach. Amr Torah ve'beimar, shechayin rosh evorim shalahem. Noach was eventually going to be makriv korbanos from these animals. So how am I treifa delo? A treifa is not kosher. So the Gemara says treifa me l'chayo zera nafka. A treifa can't be moilid, and from the ability of l'chayo zera, we already ruled out treifa. Fine. Hanich l'mandoma treifa neoledes. So then we learn the din l'chayo zera to treifa. But Laman Damar Trefa, you let us Mike Lamemer. What about that? Mandama says that even a trefa could be moilid. Okay. Let's learn a little bit of Shavuos today.
Okay, but hold on.